Okay, we're recording. So it's quick introductions. Myself, GP. Alongside me, I've got 100% old school resident Justin Thomas, and we've got, oh my God, DJ, producer, budding entrepreneur, promoter, and come Dine With Me star, Ed Kurno. How are you doing, mate?
How are you doing? All right. How's it going?
Yeah, good.
Bit of a long entry there. It was like the first page of my menu would come down me. I went on a bit.
We haven't got to the Kurno crumble yet, have we?
The Kurno crumble.
Oh yeah, I'm crumbling already. We're looking at you, but I'm panicking.
Don't be silly one.
And definitely
the
most stressful man in music. By a country.
I'm up in the top 10.
Oh, I think you're about 10 places above number 2, mate. So how's things, Ed? How's lockdown treating you?
Yeah, it's been good. I don't mean that like being like taking the mick. I think it's done me the world of favours, really. It's given me some time really to which I never thought I had before. I was always, like you said, always 100 miles an hour, trying to do a million things in less than 24 hours, and I just never had time to sort of sit back and think, right, I've got a bit of time now to focus on what I actually want to achieve. Mm-hmm. First 2 weeks was a bit of first weeks were horrendous. I didn't know what was happening with the business and basically what was happening with everyone else and family, etc. Mm-hmm. I think it's been good for me. Don't get me wrong, there's been bad times in it for everyone, but personally, it's sort of given me a new lease of life, really, I imagine, in one respect, So it's been okay.
Okay, well, we can elaborate on that. So I was going to go on to that later. So you said obviously it's given you a new lease of life and probably been thinking of lots of ideas and things. So what's next for Ed Kurno?
Obviously with the music and stuff, it's something I'll never give up, the music. So that's always going to be there in the background. And at the moment, it's in the forefront for me. There's a lot of things I personally want to do. I want to try and dip my fingers back into production. There's some tracks we did back in 2008 with Abigail Bailey and a couple of other artists from Germany, and one from America. And I was listening to them the other day in the car, and I was thinking, do you know what? They got so much potential. How they didn't do better than they did then, I just don't know. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I won't mind dip my fingers back into a couple of empires and see what they bring. I mean, with obviously my other businesses, I got so many. I've just got multiple revenues at the moment. I got my fingers at different things. I mean, there's not much revenue coming back, but I'm having a go. So the more opportunities you give yourself, the more opportunity. The more results may flourish, as it were. You know what I mean?
So what businesses are you in? So for people who don't know you, Ed, so what kind of businesses are you in currently? Okay,
so basically, obviously, people who do know me, people who don't know me, I started off obviously with DJing. So I'm still involved in the DJ industry. I'd like to say I'm quite heavily involved in music constantly. I've also got a frozen yogurt and sort of waffle and again a DJ events company where we focus on corporate establishments around the country, but predominantly in London. Mm-hmm. I've also got also doing other little businesses on Zoom, little DJ shows for colleges and wellbeing events. We started doing school proms. Just basically, fingers in a few different pies, and basically it's all come from the lockdown, which is great, but obviously sad that's had to come from such a bad time.
Yeah, of course. Sometimes you have to make hay while the sun shines, don't you? And that's exactly what we've done as well. It's taken us and the brand to a level I never thought we'd ever get to anyway. So
exactly.
There are two different types of people in this. There are people who just sit back and wallow in self-pity, and there are others who make the best of a bad situation. I think we can all agree that we've done the latter.
Yeah, 100%. People like Leighton Brookfield stuff. Obviously, we've been friends for a long time. Yeah. And taking a leaf out of his book of being positive and trying to make the best of every circumstance, whether good or bad, it definitely does help in projecting yourself forward. There's a lot to be said with present yourself opportunities. The more opportunities you present yourself with, the chances are one of them's going to work. And right now I think we've both been really lucky that both what we've done online, etc. They both have shown that they brought a quality outcome, and they've made a lot of people happy. Whereas there's probably a lot of people in Swansea who could have done the same thing, but they haven't actually got up and done it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there we go.
Good man, good man. So let's get straight into the nitty gritty, Ed. You're probably most famous for. You're probably most famous for in Swansea, and you Come Dine With Me. So tell us some of that experience.
Oh, where do you want to start? I suppose. Once upon a time. No,
I'll get comfy now, Ed. Right?
It all started back. I think it was back in the club. Well, the DJ when I was DJing quite regular on a Saturday, on a Sunday, I'd be coming home or getting up, and I'd be feeling pretty, you know, like we always used to do on a Sunday. So I usually have a little routine where I'd like have a Chinese, whatever, or a pizza, whatever it would be on it in the afternoon, and I'd come down and my omnibus would come on. I think it was like 4 till 7 or something, or whatever it was, and I used to love it every Sunday. I used to do it. Anyway, they started dropping these leaflets off from Morriston, didn't they? Who wants to be on Come Dine With Me, yada yada. So my mother-in-law, sorry, she was like, oh, they've asked us to be on Come Dine With Me. So I rang up, left an answer machine message, and didn't hear anything at all, nothing. And then one day I was down in town in SA1, and I had a phone call from the producer, or one of the, whatever they call them, they're like a runner or something. Do you mean they do like the first stage?
Yeah.
And I just completely and utterly didn't know what to say. So I just blagged it for the whole 40 minutes and told them stuff which I had no idea was on about at all. I'd gone from just being like an announcement machine message to telling them that I was going to be like doing a barbecue, Ibiza style, fireworks, jugglers, DJing on the decks on a balcony, looking over the beach. And I just done this whole spiel thinking nothing's ever going to come of it.
Right.
I mean, at the time, and I actually didn't think anything was going to come of it. You've got to remember, there's thousands of people apply for it. So anyway,
They called you bluff. They called you bluff then.
And basically what happened. They called my bluff big time, and it just escalated. And the phone calls kept coming, and I was in different places. The lies just kept rolling because I didn't know what to say. I'm never gonna get on. It's not gonna happen, is it? It's not, no chance. So I just kept on giving them what they wanted to hear. And it got to the point then, it was like, I was in Ibiza, I think, with Fee, and we were having like food in a veranda somewhere, I don't know, having the usual chicken salad and chips or whatever, and a bit of olive oil. And they rang me up when I was there, and they said, oh, right, you threw the, you know, whatever it was, you know, what are you going to cook and all that. I was like, oh. So I just looked at the menu and just told them what was in front of me. I said, oh, chicken kebabs with main, meatballs to start, and
a Kurno crumble. And a Kurno crumble.
Right, that was the latest thing.
Right, okay.
It was a Kurno and a block of glory to start. So it just escalated, and then when we flew home, man, they rang me again, and it was like, right, can you come and do what do they call it? Like a screen, like a viewing, like a video, screen test. That's the word. Thank you, mate. Like a screen test. So they came down, but obviously by this point now, I told them I was living on the beach in a flat, didn't I? Or something. I can't remember what I said them, but it basically led down the path of, oh my God, they're coming to Swansea to do a screen test, and I don't even live where I told them I live. I can't cook. What is going on here? So I was like, right, who do I ring? I rang Chris Ware, and I said, Chris, can I borrow your flat? And he was like, yeah, that's no problem. So basically, what I was doing was filling my car up with like stuff from the house, driving it down to Chris's flat, and then making it look like I lived there.
Right.
And then they were turning up, and they were like, right, okay, so they come to the door and all that, and I'd have to pretend to open the door like you would in the program.
Yeah.
So I come to the door, and they were like, oh, let's have a look around the house and all that. And I was like, oh yeah, no problem. So then we go in the kitchen, and they open the drawers, and it's just baby cutlery there because Gabriel was like 2 years old. And they're like, oh, so you got a great cutlery display here, for your guests. And what's in the cupboards? And I was like, oh my God, he's just going to pull out protein bars here, and I don't know what's going to happen. He was like, I don't know what they're going to pull out. So we just opened it up, and it was just like some spices, and in the fridge was just loads of eggs. And I was just like, oh, so what are you going to do with these then? What are you going to cook? And then they went in the bedroom, and Chris's room, and literally facing where we sleep in, there was a picture of Chris in this like really rugged, aggressive boxing pose. like without being like funny, it was, as a woman, you probably think it was quite sexy. Do you mean he was like, proper Tom Hardy, actually looking at my pillow? And I could see the bloke just looking at me going, so who's this gentleman then? Oh, he's just a really good
Oh, Ed,
I was like,
you could have outed yourself, mate. You could have outed
he's
yourself
just
on
a really
national
close
telly.
friend.
I like him so much that I have a picture of him next to my bed.
Yeah, I said, yeah, we're pretty close now. All right, okay, we understand.
About a foot away.
And I was like, oh my God. So I got through that, and then the phone calls kept coming and coming, and they were like, right, you're down to the last 20, down to the last 10. And then next thing I know, congratulations, you're in. And I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do now? This is getting really bad.
Not real then, isn't it?
I had Matthew Powie, and his late father, who's one of my really good friends of mine, Andy. He gave me his Italian meatball recipe. So I had his recipe. The chicken kebabs, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was just going to blag it. And then my old man then, bless his soul, he came round and he made me the crumble for the Kurno crumble. and that was that. And then it was time. And then basically the night before filming, they rang me up at like 10 o'clock and they were like, all right, Ed? I was like, yeah, everything all right? Yeah, there's something wrong because you're not on the electrical roll for this address. And I was like, oh my God. Right. So obviously I was sweats pouring off me now, innit? So I'm thinking, what am I going to say now? So I thought I just broke down and I was like, I'm really sorry. It just snowballed. And they were like, it's okay, don't worry. And I said, look, I don't live there, but I'm renting. So I just lied again.
Oh, no.
So I had to get Chris to do me a form in to basically explain where I was living there and all that. I was renting and blah, blah. And then the rest is history. Then we started filming the next day. I think we started off in Peppermint. And then we worked through that every day. We worked through the, different houses. But it was like, it was the most surreal experience because they get you hammered before you get there.
Right.
So like, they give you so much time to sort of drink. And they pick you up from wherever you want to be picked up. So I was going down the Sketty Men's Club one night and having about 4 pints of Carling before the taxi came because I was so on pin. I was nervous.
Yeah.
But obviously, as the days go on, and you're cool, innit? You know the film crew. They know your personality. You get to know the other people. When we actually did the actual event in the flat, it was party. It was mental because, again, I had to bring all the stuff down tonight from the house to make it look like I lived there because they thought I still lived there. And I was like, right, okay, no worries. So Fiona did all the flowers, lovely and all that. Great. It looked fantastic in there. And in the day, see, they come down and they make you cook the food slowly and they just take bits and bobs like to make the actual show. They don't film on the night. So I'm like, so everything's fine. I'm like, this is all right. I'm in the zone. I'm taught, this is how you do the chicken, stick a skewer in your kebab. I was like, I was proper in it. I thought it was awesome. And then they don't come back. They just go. And they say they're going to be there like 6 o'clock, but they don't come until they say they give you like 4:30. They don't come till like 5 to 6. So your first guest comes at 6 o'clock. Like I hadn't done my crumble yet. So I was like, right, go to the crumble. That's got to be done. I'm trying to get changed. They ring the doorbell and they come in. They're like, all right, Ed, how's it going? I said, oh, all right, not too bad. A new shirt on. Oh, you can't wear that shirt. I said, why? Oh, because the colours, it's gonna reflect. It's something to do with the colours in the video. They were like, oh, don't worry, you got loads of clothes in your bedroom. I was like, oh my God, are you having a giraffe here now? Chris is like size medium, small maybe, all tight t-shirts at the time. It was like all the Armanis and the Boss tops and all that. And I'm like 16 stone, size XL, the juicer making me try clothes on in the room. So I was like, this is not a good start. So the sweat now is running off me now, and I am soaked in with sweat. I'm in the room trying, Chris, like doing press-ups, sit-ups, doing anything I can with any sort of weight to try and look in any decent shape, like a size small, Armani on. I'm like, this is not happening. I can't do it. So I had a proper diva fit and walked out and said, I either wear the Fred Perry or I'm not wearing it at all. I'm not doing it. So they let me wear the shirt reluctantly. Right. So I moved on to the kitchen then they shit the fan then with the crumble because I couldn't get it to crumble. Sweat was running off me. It just would not go dry and I didn't know how to do it. My dad had just done it for me, see? So I thought, it'd be easy. just couldn't make it happen. So like, the producer's winding me up, wasn't he? He's just went, oh, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I said, right, I'm going to knock you out now if you carry on. I can't. I'm necking hard in. My legs going out of fashion. You had a big, I was just, sweat was running off me. So I just said, I can't take anymore. I'm going to lose it. You can see me getting angry. So in the end, he told me what to do. Because I was going to put water on it. And he said, no, you can't put water on it. You don't use water to dry something out, do you? Oh, all right. So I chucked loads more flour or whatever on it, sugar. I can't remember what I was doing. I was just trying to make it happen. The guests
you put more flour on it. I watched it earlier.
I was just like, oh my God. So the guests are coming through the door. The sweat's running off me. I didn't know what was happening. There's people hiding in the cupboards with cameras. So everywhere you look, it's like Star Wars. You open a cupboard, there's someone there looking at you. So I was just like, this is bizarre. So we're doing this, the scene now. The guests are coming. So I put the barbecue on now, didn't I? So I thought it was easy doing a barbecue, so I just chucked a firelighter on. It was quite windy. It was November, mind. It was like blowing a gale. So I was like, oh my God. So I just thought, sorry. So I stuck all the firelighters in, about 15 of them. I know, a pack of firelighters, put the match on, and poof, up it went. Happy days. So we're cooking the chicken kebabs now, and everyone in the kitchen starts coughing. I was like, are you right? And they were like, we know, it's a smell. It's like petrol. So the fumes that were coming through the vent in the flat now, and they were coming into the room, and everyone was coughing, and I was spinning right down. I thought they were going to die. At the time, I thought something's going to happen here. They're going to die or something. Do you mean? On camera. You can imagine everything's going through your head, isn't it? Do you mean? You've got like all these people with cameras staring at you, and they're laughing, right? They are weak. And I'm thinking, what are you laughing at? And then, so I think Luke went out and did the barbecue, and then bloody entertainment turned up then, and they were like, I'd never seen them before. And they were just from like a clinic or something. I don't know where they were from, like a voluntary service. And they just turned up and just went to the dunes and just started chucking these lights around. And everyone was on the balcony just laughing because it made no sense because they were so far away. But they told me they were going to play music on the nights. So I gave them one of the tracks, thinking I get some promotion out of this. They never played. They never.
Looking for some PRS.
Oh, for fuck's
sake. But they never played the music. So on the night, you just see like these poor souls on the beach shivering, tossing these little flames around, trying to be like they're in Ibiza, but it's actually Swansea Bay in November. The barbecue, it's just kicking right off in the house. So
it looked like somebody from air traffic control with their lights just
table tennis bat
from about a mile away.
It wasn't great. But it was a good experience. Basically, the point of the story is don't ever tell fibs because you get in trouble. And I tell you one thing, I didn't want to tell the truth, not because I'm an untruthful person. It was just I never thought it would happen because you can imagine thousands and thousands of people play, and you think, oh, it's not going to happen. And then when he got to the last 20, he was like squeaky bum tongue. Do you mean? Oh, here we go. This could be happening now. But met some nice people. Like
I was going to say though, Ed, I suppose the other three people are on it are from surrounding area, aren't they? So, you know, with Swansea stroke surrounding area a little bit, aren't they?
You knew Steph anyway, didn't you? Didn't you know Steph anyway?
No, I didn't know it. The only one I knew was Luke, the ginger guy. He was we got really well, and we stay in touch now. We actually looked at doing another show, just me and Luke, but it never came around. And then come time, he got in touch with me again then because
it was spin off. You and Luke was spin.
What were we going to call
like Frasier came from Cheers?
Yeah. What were we going to call we had the hairy bikers, the name. I think Luke wanted to call us the Welsh Vikings because I think his surname is something. He's called Luke England, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he's got Viking heritage stuff, and I don't know. So, but nothing ever came of that, and thank God. I did a follow-up show then, I think, when I was a guest judge up in, I can't remember where it was, up north somewhere in a mansion house. But that didn't really go very far. I think the actual show itself did too well. But it was the best or something. But we were voted, I was asked to do the best of the best come Dine With Me. So Wales, England, Scotland and Ireland. But they ended up going for celebrity one instead, I think, because they never got back to me. Excuse me. Drank that can too quick. So, but a bit of a stressful day, boys. I've got to be honest. You boys, I've had a couple of sleepless nights after this.
Now you've told the full story, though, Ed. I feel as if this is some sort of therapy for you, and you've got it off your chest now, and you feel better about the lying about where you lived, and the fact that you keep half-naked photos of men next to your bed. So
yeah, that was pretty traumatic, to be honest.
Let's get it all out now, then, isn't it?
But it was all right. The worst thing about it was the woman who won it was like, she was a professional chef. She used to have a restaurant. I heard of Dario. I mean, God, Dario's restaurant, best biscotti, get down every pizza.
Here he is.
Yeah, he is. Pasta mafiosa. So,
so Ed, can I ask you one question about it? Why didn't you cook something? Why didn't you cook something Chilean?
If it'd been in front of me and Ibiza, I probably would have. You know what I mean? It was just, it was so off the cuff. Everything was just complete. It was just a fast. I can't say any other way.
Yeah.
And the screening, I think all the family was so nervous to me because they didn't know what was gonna. Because every night they'd be coming home to the house, and he would find me just sleeping on the chair with a McDonald's in front of me and eating, steaming out of it. And that was happened every day of the week up until the last night. And the last night, well, it was all the last night with the winner. Well, I was last when I could see out the program, and I think I did something like drop it like it's hot or something at the end. I don't know if you could. Have you seen the last? I was quite chuffed at that. It was pretty good. I didn't do it on purpose; it just happened. But I was chuffed. But that night I stayed behind in the house, and I got kicked out of the house by the husband because I was drinking his shorts. That was cabinet. I felt like it was a nightclub. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
You were in an after party somewhere.
Well, I don't know. And the last night we did it, it was quite emotional. Like I'd been drinking all weekend night, so my emotions were all over the place. I was anxious and nervous because obviously you don't know what's ahead of you. You don't know what they're going to do. And like the last night we did, I turned up this house in Clinach. It was a stunning house. All the parents were outside with the kids. Now these kids had been brought in to sing as a choir, and they were going to be the entertainment. So all the parents were outside, and I was like, "What's going on here now? This is a bit weird." Like, so when I went to the house and all that, they sat down. I came to the house. The camera crew said, "Stay by the door now, right? No worries." By this point now, your first name's terms. You know what I mean? Everything's really quite relaxed. The kids then walk out. Imagine like a big house now with 2 landings, and they walk to meet in the middle, and they just start singing like this is the most beautiful Welsh song, right? Well, and the Welsh national anthem afterwards, and I started crying because it was just so emotional. Because obviously my emotions were all over the shop from the alcohol, and I looked at Ginger Luke, and he was like in between laughing and crying himself. And it was just, I won't forget that. It was quite special, but the TV they cut it out, which was a shame for Wales as well, because I think it was great it was a really good advert, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one chapter of the Book of Kurno.
That's one chapter of the Book of Kurno. Brilliant. I can't wait for this. So we'll go straight into the music then, Ed. That's a hell of an intro. Thank you for that. What got you into music?
And ironically, it's a story I tell. I work for a company called Big Ideas Wales as well. So I go into schools and colleges, and I sort of do, without sounding cheesy, I try and partake in some sort of inspirational talks to kids who are like confused where they want to go. Greg loves that.
The most confused bloke I know is trying to give it an inspirational chat to confused kids.
Top seller. So I do a company called Big Ideas Wales. Won't go into too much about it because but basically I go into whatever schools and colleges, work with kids who are like not so, probably a bit like me when I was in school, and probably like I am now, a bit all over the shop, bit muddled, bit sort of here and there everywhere, but got good ideas. But need to focus on one and generate a result. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily means that it doesn't necessarily mean you can be an academic. You know, it just means that in other words, there's other opportunities out there for these kids, and some of them are so clever. Some of them might have ADHD, or some might have autism or something, but they've got really good possibilities ahead of them. So going back to the original question, what I tell the kids when I started was basically at my mother's in Sketty, well, not far from Steve and Justin were brought up because I've known him for a long time. And basically, there's a guy called Paul Smith who used to live on Long Cadog behind me in his garage. He used to be a DJ. He used to have a workshop in his garage. And one day, I heard music coming out of the speakers. Went for a walk on the block. back in them days, you could just turn up to a random man's garage and not worry about it. Do you know what I mean? It was normal. Like, you need to play football outside or, swing off a tree. And, so I just started talking to this guy. My dad met him. He was a neighbour. And I started then at 15 and a half, maybe 16. I just started basically working in his garage and his equipment and learning how to use speakers and to plug them in. And then I started going to weddings with him. And I started doing my own weddings. And when I was about 16, I think, 16 and a half, I think I did my first wedding in Maggie Dick's, which was a pretty big occasion. Like, you know what I mean? 16 years old, he put me right in the deep end. And
in Maggie Dick's as well. If you fuck up in there, you're dead.
Oh, well, I'm not joking. Like, the size of the equipment, it was like bigger than a suitcase for the airport, right? With like a deck built in, he made himself, and it was so heavy. My dad had to take it upstairs with me, and we had big PV speakers. No, it was mental. And the first night I did it, ironically, the fuses blew, so I had to change the fuses in the mixer. Now I don't think I won't be able to do that now. I think I just have a panic attack. But back then I did it. I actually did it, and I saved the wedding. And I got through it. Like, Greg's laughing, because you can imagine that. You know, I can't even. I spin up and change the record with Funky Bum. But but at the time I did it, like, and basically I started doing more and more weddings. Maggie Dick's, the Harbour Winds in Mumbles, gone. The Conservative Club. That's, in fact, all the places I played, they're shut now, ironically.
You're like Nicky Grove then. He's the Albatross as well.
Yeah, DJ Closure. I did that, and then I remember once, then a guy called Andy Clark, mutual friend again of Justin's, myself, and Lindsay Martin. Andy had a place down in Mumbles called the Coach. I think it was the Coach House on Wine Street. It was next to the George. It was a Coast House. Coast House, not the Coast House. Yeah. And so I met Andy then, because I was playing basketball and stuff in college and edgies, that sort of time. And I ended up going down every Wednesday. My father would take me down to the flat. And I was a young man. I was 16. Do you mean 16 and a half, 17? I go down, and then Andy would give me mixing lessons on his Gemini 2000s, I think. And so I learned to mix with him. And I think there's a few other people in the room. I can't. Joel is part at the time. And I went to I remember going then to see Carl Cox in 97, I think. It must be 97. It was Carl Cox with Shades of Rhythm down in Fulton House. But I wasn't old enough to get in, but obviously I got in.
Was it with Trevor Rockcliffe as well? Was he playing?
Trevor Rockcliffe, Shades of Rhythm, and Carl Cox. So
I was there.
I went to see. I was there that night, and I was just like, it blew my mind. You know, I was a bit overwhelmed by it all. It finished by midnight, and I forget it. Yeah. And ironically, Carl hasn't been back, because I say Carl, he's my mate. Carl Cox hasn't been back here then. He hasn't been back since. Again, another venue I closed. But my point is, it was such an emotional experience musically for me, because I couldn't imagine how someone could create such different sounds with 3 vinyl decks. Now, you've got to remember, Benny was watching this, with all due respect to, I don't mean to be rude, but the DJs of the present day, with all due respect, if you haven't used Technics 1210s and seen what Carl Cox did with 3 records and 1 mixer, which was basically just made up of gains and a crossfader, you never, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done your apprenticeship. And that's not being derogatory. That's my feeling I'll always have. Do you mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I learned. I saw him, and then I just decided to quit the mobile work, and then I just decided to save up for belt drives, cam belt drives, which was like mixing on ice. It was horrendous, and I learned to do it on belt, and then I saved up the Technics. I had my 1200s in. And then with the rest is history. I from that then, I was in Swansea College at the time, and I just saw an opportunity to make some money. So there was an event. There was a club called Spoofers. It was opposite, next to YMCA. So I thought, I'm going to put in a club night on now. So I just went to Reaper Graphics in the college, got some tickets printed, and I just sold I remember making £500, because I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, I made £500 tonight. All in pound coins, because it was £2 I had to get in. And I sold all the tickets, word of mouth around the college, and that was great. And I remember that was my first live set and I was shaking. If Clarky could ever remember this, I was absolutely, I mean, I can't explain. I didn't even drink much then, and I was young, and he just said, down this now, and I think I downed the pint or something, and I got through it. But I never forget the nerves, mate. I can't explain. I was like this. I couldn't control the anxiety. It was just incredible. Because in Spoofers, you had all the balconies of people looking over on you, like quids in. Yeah. And I was really like, you know, it was a big thing for me. And yeah, we got through that. And then I think I met Byrne then in Escape downstairs when I was trying to get that. I started a party called Chemistry. And we started doing that in room 2 in Escape with Byrne. With Byrne on plane, he was in charge of the room. I think I was only 18 up to that point. So yeah, quite a busy life from when I was a kid to like when I was 18 really, and just escalated then.
So what's the first record you bought?
First record I bought, the first record I remember buying was from from a second-hand shop, and I can't remember the name of the song, but it's in the house somewhere. I can't remember the song, but I remember it was, I remember the vocal in my head. I won't sing it because I can't actually relay the melody, but the second record I bought, which I remember buying, and it cost my mother, but 18 quid. It was the David Morales remix of Honey by Mariah Carey. It was on a double pack import in HMV. I remember buying that just for that one record. That's how much music meant to me, and still does. I got goosebumps talking about it, because it was almost inspirational to go to a shop and just find that track that Pete Tonga played, because at the time he was like the governor, and like he'd play his essential track, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, let's play that record."
Yeah.
Christoph and Derek's would just be like, just a grump. I love Christoph a bit, but he just didn't understand house music. Lindsay was running the vinyl, and Lindsay would know what to buy, but you'd only get one or two of them. So when this track came out, you'd be just going straight down. You'd be running around Swansea. You had Andy Kersey, who I ran a promotion company with when I was 18, 19, called Chemistry. He had HMV vinyl, and Lindsay had the Derek vinyl. So I mean, you're talking now, it's mad to think 2 decades ago, you know? When I think of it like that, I do feel quite like it's mad. You know what I mean? When I think how long ago it was. And the other big record to me was Lady by Mojo. Commercially it's massive now, but at the time I never forget when he dropped it, and I just was like, I gotta get that record. And it came in the Derek's as usual. I gotta get the town to get this track before someone else gets it. But I mean, there's been hundreds of records in my collection which have meant something to me. And every record I buy means something personally when I'm listening to it. I can't explain that any other way. It takes me somewhere, that's where I buy it. If it doesn't take me anywhere, it's not going in the bag.
Okay, so that's probably a good place to go with it then. So now you're talking about all the records that mean something to you. What's your top 5 tunes?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I wish you asked me this yesterday now.
Well, it changes every day with me anyway, Ed, so it's probably for you as well, to a certain extent, isn't it?
I mean, the thing is with me, I'm not necessarily a house DJ. I mean, I class house as a genre, which for me personally covers a huge array of. I think this is why my set is different, because I could almost be playing house with trance influences in it or tech influences, and I only play, in my opinion, I play house. So, like Cafe Del Mar to me is a massive record. Grease 2000 is a huge record. Roger Sanchez, Another Chance, is another huge record. I mean, but they're not necessarily related to other tracks can't think, honestly, my mind's gone blank. But things like Masters of Work, you know, there's tracks from them which I absolutely adore. But then I can go the other side of the spectrum and play something from, like I said, Energy 52 on the Who's Tunes label. It's my musical, not knowledge too much. I'd say my taste is so varied.
You play music. You play music rather than a genre, and that's exactly what I do. It's all music to me now. If you pigeonhole something, you're gonna stick in that routine. So the thing I did that with garage, where I played nothing but garage. Then when garage died, I was thinking, "Fuck, where do I go here?" And then I just thought, you know what? If I like a tune, it doesn't matter what genre it is, I'll play it, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I literally have gone blank, but there's so many amazing records which you'd be like, you know, they'll just come on, and you'll just think, oh, Jesus Christ. I remember that when I was here. You know, like Moby, like The Rain of the Game. I know the problem we've got now is these tracks are being hammered now. So they haven't got that same sort of, like wow factor like they did 20 years ago whenever they were released, because back then, you got to remember that DJing wasn't commercial then. You know, I could probably name the DJs in Swansea when I was 18. It was like, you know, I never forget, we were going to call ourselves, I was trying to create like a mafia sort of thing in Swansea, do you mean? Trying to get all of us together, collective. In fact, I think they called it the Creation Collective. And we were trying to get a collective of DJs together and like and you got to remember, there's yellow pages then. I didn't have no social media, it was yellow pages and ringing up clubs. That was how it was. So for me now, it's a massive difference in like, well, it's just massive. The difference for me now is it's like yourself, just or and you, Greg. You know, it's just completely different. You know, it's different.
Everybody's a DJ now, Ed. See, isn't it?
There was Bruce Clifford. You had all the Escape. Huh?
Everyone's a DJ now, isn't it? Everyone's a DJ, mate. Yeah, really.
It's to me, it's. People are happy and enjoying what they're doing. It's fantastic, but it does take, for me personally, it does take away the hard work that everyone puts into it when you start. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people don't realize that the graft you put in to even get a gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, absolutely. We were fortunate. I was going to say we were fortunate as well in Swansea that we had people like Lindsay working in Derek's and Andy Kersey as well in HMV. Were again top bloke as well. Andy, I haven't spoken to him for a while, but
he's doing well. He's doing right.
But we were fortunate to have people like that who were switched on, and so that we were able to tap into their knowledge and get the best tracks. And if you got in with them, they'd put them aside for you on a Monday and stuff as well. So we were lucky like that,
also it was almost like a social engagement where you'd enjoy going to Derry's. You sit at the end of the bar, you know, the counter.
Yeah, the counter.
Sean would be winding me up. Lindsay would be winding me up. Derek, Christos would be winding me up. You know, then someone would come the DJ would come through the back door. You know, the mobile jocks would pick up their classic cuts, 100, whatever it was. It was enjoyable. You know, now it's like you click a record, you listen to it 40 seconds because Beatport won't let you listen to after the best parts. Yeah. And then that's it. And I've got to be fair, before the lockdown, I completely fallen out with love of music a bit. You know, I was like, you know, I just didn't really have any passion towards getting paid a bottle of vodka to turn to a club for an hour. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. I think the thing is as well, right, is that, like you say about the, you know, physically owning something. So buying a piece of vinyl and you've got it in your hands, and it was still in the cellophane. So you were the first person to play it. It was yours. Nobody else had it. And nowadays, when you're downloading or buying an MP3 online, it doesn't have the same value. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean as much to you anymore, does it? Because
it's got no
disposable,
value,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's got no value, is it? It's just an infinite thing flying through the air, like, and it just ends up playing on a USB stick. It's got, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't see the artwork, you can't read it. You can't read
like you said earlier, like you said earlier about, you know, maybe into Derek's or into HMV, there might be 2 or 3 copies come in. So you pretty much know that if you play out that weekend and you're playing it, nobody else has got it. Whereas nowadays, as soon as something comes out electronically, everyone in the world has potentially got it. So nothing's new. And people go to a club and they hold up their phone and they Shazam the track and they immediately know what track it is as well. And they go home and buy it. So to break a record nowadays is pretty impossible, Nyon, unless you're Zane Lowe or Annie Mac, I suppose, isn't it?
No, I agree. The only way of doing it now is to be like a bit cutting edge, I guess, and start putting your own music out on vinyl and just make yourself be unique. You know what I mean? But, you know, can you imagine turning up to a club now which had a pair of 1210s? Yeah, you could probably demand them on your rider. But realistically, the people who run the clubs now don't even know what 1210s are. No. So, but, you know, but when I was traveling and stuff, you know, the only thing good about it is when I was catching airplanes, the record box was too heavy, so I didn't have to. And obviously you had your life in that box, didn't you? So that was the only thing positive about having a USB stick, but it didn't feel the same. No, I 100% agree. 100% agree. Like that, Greg? 100%.
I love it, mate. I love it. So going back to my original question, what's your top 5 tunes, Ed? So I know you haven't touched on them.
Huh? I made the list on my phone, but I can't get to them.
Right, what's your top tune?
I like Arms from Hell's Funk Phenomenon.
Is
I like
that why you remixed it?
It's not my top tune. In fact, I'd go as far as saying my top tune, I probably, the track which remains a constant, something I always remember, would be Music Sounds Better Than You, Stardust.
Too.
Yeah.
Because I think it was revolutionary with the label Roulet. It was Thomas Bangalter. They broke through with the label. From that record, I bought everything on the back catalogue on Roulet. And some of it, like Tracks on the Rocks, you had DJ Falcon Together. You had, I think there was one DJ, I can't remember, what was it called? Touche. I think he came out on that label. You had a string of DJs from France coming out on that label. And the Roulet label was, and the branding of the label was so strong with the gold print across the top, the font, the gambling thing in the middle, the roulette
wheel.
It was to me, that was a groundbreaking record, really. And it was something, I said Lady earlier on. It wasn't about Lady, it was Stardust. Because I remember him playing on Beat Talk. I remember the record coming on. And like the strings at the beginning.
Yeah. And
then I was like, oh my God, I was gripped. And then that was it, bang. And I remember going down to HMV and buying the two. I think it was like £9 or something, because they're on import. It's mad, isn't it? I think you paying £9 for a record. And you go shopping, buy 10 records, it's £100, like. Yeah. You go on Beatport now, it costs you £8.
Yeah.
Mad. Yeah. It's just completely deflated the industry now, and it's made DJing so accessible for everyone that now you can't stand out unless you do something stupid like put a medal on your head, and just stand there naked. You know what I mean? Even that guy now, who's that guy? He's playing music, Mark. He does all this crazy. He's an American guy. He puts a dressing gown on. He makes live music, and he's like,
Mark.
Rubel, something like that.
Rebel.
Yeah. Well, when he first came out, I thought, you know what? I listened to the first couple of his records. Were really like they were really well. I thought this is really good. I thought, this is a really solid. This is going to go far, and he has gone far. But like on the other day, and it's boring. Because it's the same thing all the time. Guy in a dressing gown shouting obscenities down the microphone, trying to be funny. And the funny, it's not funny no more, do you mean?
No, I think he tried to be a bit... I think he tried to be a bit like, use the similar kind of setup that Beardy Man does. So he's using loop pedals and stuff. Right? Yeah. But trying to do it more structured, 4/4 structured, whereas Beardy Man tends to do more drum and bass jungle kind of sound, doesn't he? And I think he tried to do that, but yeah, I'm with you on that. The first 2 or 3 that you see are brilliant, and then after that, you think this is all the same, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's getting a bit, but my point, I think, I've diverted now. I think what I'm trying to say is, although I don't particularly he's got no influence on me at all. I think what the point I was trying to make was he stood out because he was different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I'm just saying, it was like DJ wise now. I mean. It's quite hard to find someone who really stands out to the point you're thinking he's, do you know what I mean? It's how do you do it? There's like literally probably my street. There's probably 3 people in their bedrooms now.
Yeah, there's one of 2 ways that you can break out. You either look different, or technically you sound different. Those are the only 2 ways you can stand out with anybody really. And if you look at all the top DJs like your Sanchez, your Todd Terrys, and whoever else you've got on the house scene. They stand out because they play 3-4 decks. You've got other people then like Dead Mouse, who's got a big fucking thing on his head.
Yeah, Clapton's the same, isn't he?
With his nose. Yeah. They're not very good DJs. You listen to them, they're not technically amazing.
These guys are like 55 years old now.
Yeah. Grow up, like.
Do you know what I mean? They've achieved the greatness now, so they can do whatever they want to do now. Really, do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, Todd Terry and Sanchez are still getting bookings based on what they did 25 years ago, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, they're booked.
I don't mean that in a bad way. It's true, though, isn't it?
No, but they are who they are. They're godfathers, aren't they? They are. If you look at go on YouTube and just type in remixes Dave Morales and just see the amount of people he's worked with. I mean, it's insane. I mean, you're talking Madonna, Michael Jackson, Prince. You're talking people who like, you're not talking
big mainstream remixes.
No.
No. People are multi-millionaires, like.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, or you go the other way and you do something like James Hype is doing, who personally I don't enjoy watching what he does, but
I admire what he does. I admire what he does, but it's
what's he doing? He's like looping it. You need to make
he's a button presser. He's just a button presser.
Yeah.
He presses buttons, Ed. That's what he does. All his tracks are set to a same speed, right? And he's preset all the cue points in them all. And all he's doing is just triggering cue points. It's a bit like triggering a sampler would have been years ago. But when people like Depeche Mode did that back in the 80s, and they were triggering samples when they were first making electronic music, that was completely new, and they were kind of breaking ground a bit like Kraftwerk were before them, I suppose. And all he's done is he's taken modern technology and applied it to DJing, hasn't he? Because there's not particularly, it's not finesse. There's no finesse to it. And whether he loves the tracks or hates the tracks that he plays, I couldn't tell you because I don't know anything about the guy. But it's a lot of button pressing, it's a lot of knob twiddling. He knows what he's doing, let's put it that way. And they're almost pre-planned. I think you'd say that, Greg, wouldn't they?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, they're like preset sets.
Nice one. Dropped it again, like that.
That's why I got the name from. Honestly, God, when I was I'm going to do an old school night, like, oh yeah, how's it going to be proper old school? Like 100%. And then somebody said, 100% old school. I said, oh, fuck, you know what? I'm taking that. and that's how it came. No, just because you just say it's a Swans. I think it's probably a Swansea thing.
It's a Swansea thing.
Yeah, you say something, it's like 100%. It's like something like as fuck at the end of it. Like you're hard as fuck. You're beautiful as fuck. This is a proper Swansea thing, isn't it? You know, it is so I think it stands. It goes well with where we are. Because it fits in well with our lingo, but yeah, that's basically where I got the name from.
Yeah, it's 100% right there, mate. Sounds good.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. So, Ed, you mentioned about jumping on a plane with your record bags and yada yada yada. So, where in the world have you played?
Well, I was privileged enough to basically. I went to Ibiza to live when I was about, I can't remember how old I was, 21, something like that, and. I literally just basically put everything on a credit card, paid my mate's flight and said, look, we're going to Ibiza, sell everything in the bedroom. And he was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. So we sold everything in his bedroom and we just went to Ibiza for 2 weeks. The idea being that we'd stay there. He's a graphic designer. I'm a DJ. And then the rest is history, but obviously it didn't happen that way because come like the last day, we had no money and I was kind of like, right, we got to go home tomorrow. We've been looking everywhere for work. And on the last day, we were like literally dragging ourselves through San Antonio. We just went past, like, I can't remember. It's just changed so much, but it was a Norwegian bar. Basically, it hadn't opened at the time. And it was like these 4 Norwegians, Sonny Mateus, 3. Sonny Mateus and Stein, and they were doing this bar up. So we just went up and said, look, are you looking for a DJ? They're like, yeah, we are. Great. Are you looking for a designer? Yeah, we are. So we landed. So basically, we ended up having this job. I was DJing at Ibiza in this bar 6 nights a week for like, I don't know, 50 quid. And like doing like 7-hour sets or something. It was ridiculous. And Ali was doing the design. So we did the names. We called it a Senza in the end.
Yeah. So
we had this amazing party. It was amazing. I'm not joking. It was incredible. Why I didn't stay there, I don't know. I think I was a fool to come home. And basically, we had this morning party it's called Sunrise. And I'd open the door at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd turn up to work and all the people from Manumission would come through and they'd come into this bar and we'd just party and I DJed about 10, 11. And it was just insane. And then I started winning record competitions on the island where I was battling other DJs. I started beating all the DJs and then I started winning prizes. And at one point, without sounding completely up my own ass, there was no one on the island who actually could beat me. And it was mad. They were like, they were flying, can you beat Ed Kurno? And I was like, I am. It was mad. It was really surreal. And anyway, so that was like the start. So I met a lot of people over there. Those Norwegians were sort of the trigger point. So when we came over from from Ibiza, I kept in touch with the Norwegians. Again, all through, mad, there was no Facebook then. No. And they booked me to play in Oslo in a place called, it wasn't Oslo, it was called the Court Festival. No, it was Oslo, the first one. I played in Oslo, yeah. In some, I think it was a gay club or something. It was mental. And I played in this club in Oslo. And they were blown away, not by me, but the music, because they were so far behind, they didn't really understand what was going on. And again, it's on a vinyl, wasn't it? So they were like watching the way you did with your hands and all that. And then from there, I started making more and more contacts in Norway. I started playing festivals over there. Played a Quartz Festival, which was insane. And then I ended up playing in Norway 37 times, I think. I flew.
Not that you're counting
around the country. No, the reason I remember now is because literally last year I was trying to work out how many times I've been there because I was trying to work out why I came home. And yeah, so we did about 37 gigs over in that time, and then from there, I had a bit of a story to tell, so I could get more bookings. So I started promoting myself as a manager, but actually promoting me. So I was like an alter ego. I would do the team, and then basically I ended up getting gigs on meeting people then, and I played in had a residency in Bangkok every 3 months. Bahrain I played in with Bahrain. I played in Moscow twice. I played Portugal about 6 times now, I think, and obviously the Norway, Luxembourg.
South Africa you went as well?
South Africa, yeah. South Africa, the 3 tours of South Africa, and they were insane tours. I mean, like playing everywhere, like every day. I mean, Ibiza, obviously, Marbella. Yeah, there's a few others I can't remember really, but I think it was about 11 or 12 countries.
Okay, so that was one of my questions. So for any, like, obviously I'm not interested in flying around the world playing because I'd rather just play in my hometown and go home, to be honest, at 2 o'clock in the morning. But for any budding DJs out there who would like to go around the world and DJing, what top tips can you get them, or can you give for them to get these sort of gigs?
Don't drink before you work.
That's me. That is Greg. See, you need to listen to me.
I don't drink until I go on the decks. I have my first drink and I jump on, and I'm pissed getting off.
You have about 5 pints of gin then in about 20 minutes. So.
Yeah, and then I'm pissed and getting off, and after 45. Yeah.
Looking at his phone like that. He's like, "Oh,
yeah.
No. I don't know. I think it's kind of like it's a tough one. I think you've got to be honest. You got to be honest with yourself. I think.
You're talking about lying, like fucking. Now you don't know if you're honest. No,
I think you've got to be realistic with your goals.
So what kind of process did you go down? So what kind of process got you these gigs?
I used to blag it. So I used to basically, the first one I got in Bangkok was I told everyone I was sponsored by a company, wait for it, not Red Bull, but Black Bull. And so I emailed this club in Asia, and I told them I was sponsored by Black Bull on an Asia tour. The flights were paid, and obviously I needed gigs. They were looking for gigs over there. So obviously they booked me then to play this club, man. Unbelievable. Carl Cox played there. There's pictures on the wall of all the DJs who played on campuses around the club. So basically, I told these people I was on tour, so the flight was paid for. So they haven't got an outlay of the only outlay they've got is the gamble and the small fee that you're going to charge to get into the country. So my first advice is to try and get into the country. So try and get there, even if you've got to pay your own flight, just get there. Mm-hmm. Try and liaise then with the promoters to try and get a gig, and try and get several gigs in the same place. So you're not probably going to make money the first time. It's a gamble, but it's an experience, and you learn. And you get there and you start building contacts. It's kind of like an apprenticeship. You earn 50 quid a week for 2 years, but then you're on 30 grand a year because you've got your own business and you've learned from the best. Mm-hmm. So I think my advice is you've got to be out there. I always say to people, you're not going to make money sitting in your house. No one's going to come to your house and knock your door and say, hey man, do you want a residency in Twilo in New York? It's not going to happen. You need to be out there and amongst it. Back in the day, you'd move to London, you just go clubbing every night, and you meet the promoters, and you meet everyone, and you become a face. Yeah. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen really, because there's nowhere to go for a start.
Say hello.
Secondly,
hi, Mrs. T.
Yeah. So sorry, Ed. It's fine.
What's happening? I think you just got to be out there. You've got to get yourself out there. I think the days of solid mixes are gone because people can just do it. They can just do it on a computer. I think it's about personality. I think you've got to show your personality. You've got to show who you are. And I think you've just got to be out and amongst it. And you've just got to network. Every gig I've got has been from a network. So what I used to do was I'd go online and I'd find like, for example, I always do it. I draw what I'm saying on this paper, but you can't see it. Can you see the point? But so I'd look for, say, I always looked at it like football. So imagine you've got Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. I was never a Premiership DJ. I was never a Division 2. I'd probably say I was Division 4. So I'd find DJs who I thought were in my category. So like, say someone like, at the time, I don't know, Mickey Slim. So I would then look at Mickey Slim's bookings and I'd find out where he played. So then it would be like a detective trail to find out where he played, and then I'd find out who ran the club. And then from running the club, I'd then find out who promotes the club. And then from promoting the club, I'd find out who the promoters were. And eventually, you'd have a web of people to contact. And obviously, when Facebook was introduced, this was a lot easier. You just add as friends.
Yeah.
And that's how I did it. South Africa came about that way. Luxembourg. I mean, Russia was done through, that's another story again. But Russia was done through Ultra, because they looked after me for a while. Visa Loud looked after me for a while, but that didn't really go anywhere. And it was like, and obviously by booking, you're putting your own nights on, as you're well aware. I mean, when I started my own nights back in, well, like I said, I was 16, I was still promoting myself. And when I started booking, when I did Refocused with Smiley, and we booked, massive names at the time. We booked Lee Cabrera, Eric Prydz. But everything I did was always linked to, without sounding selfish, and I not selfish, without sounding like, it was all about me, in the sense that, how can I make that work around me? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'd always send an email where it'd be like, "Dear Greg, my name's Ed, I'm from blah, blah, blah. Last weekend, I supported Eric Prydz. What the people don't realize, he just cost me $3,000, so you better give me a gig."
I'm trying to recoup my money back.
But everything was based around self-promotion. Like, we had DJ Mag support me on a mass, and that done me the world of favors, because there was a quote from DJ Mag, and all of a sudden that quote, it takes people read that, oh, hang on, DJ Mag supported him.
Carries weight, doesn't it? Just carries weight.
Ministry Magazine have supported him. And I think that really did help me internationally, because you got to remember, we are at the forefront. So it was kind of like, so I mean, my biggest advice is to do things, is self-promotion. I even think like looking like a t-shirt and stuff now. I mean, the kitchen lockdown t-shirts, I probably wear them every day now. Not because one reason is I don't go anywhere. Number two is because, I'm proud of that achievement. And I think that if you're a DJ, you maybe should be looking at the way you promote yourself as a product now, you know what I mean? And people do take note to that product. Eventually you are a product the other day. You're a monkey which is going to start clapping his hands and make people dance. Yeah. So you're just going to promote yourself to the best of your abilities. So I think the 4 Ps: product, you're the product. You're going to promote yourself in the right place. You've got to use promotion, and you've got to be the right price. And that's my biggest bit of advice. And I made that rhyme as well.
So cheap you.
Sorry?
How cheap you?
I'm as cheap as you want me, love. The way these red stripe are going down, I'm happy with 4 cans.
You weren't happy with a bottle of vodka 10 minutes ago. You can tell he's getting pissed. So, Ed, talking about the gigs, obviously, what's the most random gig you played at? Because I'd imagine you'd have some stories, because I think anybody who knows you know that there are times in your DJ career where you're absolute car crash, where you were don't drink before a gig. I don't think you've ever followed that theory once.
Yeah, I've had some experiences.
So one that's not going to get you in trouble would be nice.
The funniest one was when I did New Year's Eve in Johannesburg, and I'd gone out in the afternoon with the promoter, and I was like, I was so tired, and I was like drinking. No, it was nothing really that stupid. It was just drinking these like jugs of like Castle Lager watching the Wales game. Wales were playing South Africa, ironically, that same day. And he drove me back to the hotel and just said, "Off you go." Like, do you mean not in a bad way? And I went back to the hotel, I had a couple of cans in the room, and I just absolutely passed out. Gone. And 5 to 12 then, I'm starting at midnight. It's thunder and lightning, right? I'm just like, what? The phone's going like crazy. They're banging the doors. I'm out cold tonight. No prep, no shower, nothing. Straight in the car to the gig, and I turned up to like 3,000 people. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was completely spinning out. I was just like, what? Like, 8 hours ago, I was in Heathrow Airport. Do you mean? And now I'm like, yeah, what's happening? And he just dumped me on top of the decks. And I just looked ahead of me. I thought, what am I going to play like? Do you mean? Because I had no idea about the South African culture, you know, what you're expecting. And the funny thing about that was after the gig, I didn't drink. Because I was like, I didn't have time to drink. It sounds silly. And after the gig then, we were all having drinks in the office with the promotions company and all that. And they all just got up and left me. And as they were leaving to go home, they just got me to the level where I was like, oh, I'm right now. and just left me in the murder capital of the world. Like. So I was like, oh, cheers for that. So that was probably one of the standout points, because I never forget the whole experience of turning up there and, you know, playing a country of that, you know, so much historic sort of,
yeah,
you know, the background of that country. It was a privilege to be there, and obviously to play South Africa for me was incredible. But I standout gigs. I mean, I can't really think, Greg, if I'm honest. I mean, there's been a couple of crazy ones, yeah, but they've all been. You probably, I don't know, fellas, you know, a couple of occasions I've fallen asleep, but you know, that's part, I suppose.
Well, I always remember,
but that was a long time ago.
And we kind of didn't know each other, because we got off on a bad foot in a skit. Because I can remember you coming on to me and saying, "Oh, what's your name again, mate?" I was like, you fucking asked me this 5 minutes ago. And then we start talking, and then I'd see you again the next week, and then we'd like chat, and then he's like, "Oh, what's your name again?" I was like, fucking hell, do you want me to write it down for you? And I was getting fucking pissed off in the end of it. So anyway, you come on to me, right? And you must have fucking remembered my name, because you come on to me and said, "Oh, Greg, can you come here a sec? What time are you playing till?" I said, "Oh, my last tune." "Good. I'm really spinning out, mate. I need to go. Will you play my set for me?" I'm a garage DJ. I know nothing about fucking house music. And then he's trying to get me to play his set for him because he's spinning out. I go, fucking no chance, mate. I haven't got a clue. I don't even know the name to one tune at that point of house music, because I had no interest in it whatsoever. And yeah, that was probably one of the craziest stories. But that was quite a regular thing for you, wasn't it? You turn up, spin out, get somebody to play your set, you go home with the money.
Yeah, well, I'm a businessman. Out there for Lincoln, see?
Okay, now. Oh, I can imagine. So what's the best gig you've done then? There's always one that stands out.
Yeah, probably the best gig, I mean, was probably I was lucky enough to play The End in London.
Right.
For Mr. C, the Shaman. It was his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wasn't playing his birthday, but I was it's his venue. It was the AKA and The End. Yeah. So I played in the AKA, and he was at his birthday in the club down the stairs. Like, so I played there after to go to Miami for the music conference. Me and Smiley went there, and I swear to God, right? You talk about DJs how to promote yourself. That was how to promote yourself, because it's the proof in the pudding. Yeah. I went out there with like mix CDs, really well. You know, I'll be honest, I spent a lot of time programming the mixes, you know, starting off with people like Joski and really going through the records. So it did have a journey, do you know what I mean? And it had
Greg doesn't know who Joski is, Ed.
It's fine. No, I don't know who Joski is.
Greg doesn't know who Joski is. It's fine.
Joski was a massive... Joski was from New York, and it was like Joski and Onions, and they had a lot of releases on Siesta label.
Amazing.
Were any of his tunes hype? Were any of his tunes hype? If they weren't, I don't know him.
No.
There you go.
He was like. Anyway, my point is, cut long story short, I did the promotion thing in Miami, and on the back of that, these Londoners who were staying in our hotel said, "Well, we're going to book you," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever," and they did, and they booked me to play The End, and that stands out as iconic to me, because for me personally, that club was like, well, it was huge from a DJ point of view to play The End. Yeah. And that
probably had the best sound system in Britain as well.
It was insane. And
a massive function one there, didn't he?
It was the only sound system, apparently it was there. It was the only sound system you could talk. You could talk, though.
Yeah.
And hear and be in the dance floor was weird. When I say talk, I don't mean having a full-on conversation about, you know, what days you go to football practice or not. But you could understand. And for me personally, that was probably the best gig I played, because it triggered me then into to have that back to say I played that club. It was weird, you know. Like you're talking now, probably 99, and then you had the other amazing gig was when we went to Ibiza to play. When I played as Miss Money Page Res, and they flew me out to play a club called Boho, and then we did the old. Me and Fee went out there and we did like, the pre-party in Kenya, your own DJ area.
Mm.
I know it sounds cringe, but for me, for any DJ that sees poster on those walls was like, I played Ibiza. Do you mean I not played out here because I'd done the season here. I went there for a purpose.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I guess those two really, and obviously then every South Africa gig was incredible because it was just such an amazing place. Yeah, there's loads of memories, mate. Loads of memories.
Okay, well, what's your worst gig then? If we're going to re-jog your memory, what's your worst gig you've ever done?
Luxembourg was horrendous. There was no one in the club at all. I literally flew out there and I got there and it was like some issue with security. I don't know what happened, but there was no one there, man. I played 2 hours. This club was about 5,000 capacity and it was just me and about 10 people there. And it was the longest 2 hours of my life. And I flew home then to play Escape because they moved to Jumping Jacks for Head Candy.
Yeah.
And I didn't even play that gig again because I'm not going to bring any names into it. But a certain promoter had a bit of a threw his kittens out of the pram. And so I didn't end up playing that club either. So that weekend was just a write-off. I was gutted because it was such a great experience to fly, to be in one country the night. It's like, it sounds like so immature. It sounds like such a cliche, doesn't it? But to play from one country to another country and then on a Sunday go, what a weekend I've had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just, it was a disappointment.
I tell you what, and there's something which still stands out. And I don't know if you're really, really looking forward to a gig and you can't wait for it to come and you fucking bust in for it. They're always shit.
Yeah.
Always shit.
Yeah.
Pisses me off. That's why I don't bother thinking about gigs anymore. It's just, right, okay, sometimes I forget I'm playing on a Saturday and it's a Thursday. And yeah, but if I think about it too much and I'm fucking up for it, I am being this place for ages, I'm in that place for ages, they're always shit.
Yeah, I think it's like anything in it. It's like when you're looking forward to a night out, it's always an anticlimax.
Yeah, it is. So have you got any pre-gig rituals, apart from getting pissed and stressed out, have you got any other pre-gig rituals that you go through?
I do a couple of bit of shadow boxing, like, and a couple. I just sweat a bit. You know what I mean?
Is it excellent?
When I was in Moscow DJing, the promoter Murphy, he booked me twice, and he locked me in a cupboard like for about half hour before my gig. He said, "Oh, now this is your time," and just locked me in a cupboard. And I was like, "What is going on?"
Was it
us for like half hour.
Who was the promoter, Fritzl?
I was just like, I was in Russia, like in Moscow, and he put me in this room. And he was like, "This is your time now." And I was
Joseph.
like, "What am I going to do here now?" He took my pint off me as well. Can you believe that?
I can. Seeing the states you get yourself in, I can absolutely believe it.
You should have been fighting him. Nobody nicks your pint.
I know. But that was but the ritual of me with the shadowing and stuff, and like the jumping on my toes, just because I think people who see me DJ know I'm quite energetic by the decks, and I'm always known for sweating. And I think it's a
10 rounds you've done before that.
I remember the first kitchen lockdown we did, because I was so excited, because I literally didn't do it. I hadn't done anything. I was like, I was down about the business and stuff. And I remember I set it all up, and I was thinking, right, come on. And I remember pumping myself up front, on my toes. Let's go. And I was thinking, hang on a minute now. I'm DJing to a computer screen.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough one, isn't it?
I could see the numbers popping up, and I was thinking, right, we're up to 400 here. This is pretty good. And I remember thinking, right, if I was watching now, what would I do to keep people dancing or moving or listening or watching? And I just thought I just got to be myself. Do you mean? And just go with it. And then the week after, we had 530. And I was like, whoa, this is all right. But then I think what I'm trying to say is, I think this is going back to promoting yourself. I think that was my sort of selling point, was I always I gave it all. Do you mean? regardless what state I'm in or whatever I'm up to, I always give 100%. You know what I mean? 100%. Woo-hoo! Let's do it again. But like,
you should be my
I always try
manager.
my best. I always try my best to like entertain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you are entertaining, Ed.
Thanks, mate.
With the, I was going to ask you about you were. I don't want to say lucky. I don't mean that in a bad way either, right? But when you booked Eric Prydz, it was just a Call on Me, wasn't it? You had him before it went. It was just coming out. It was almost kind of Tong was playing it at that point, but it wasn't a chart track at that point, wasn't it?
It just got number one.
Was it then? I didn't. I thought he was, but he wasn't. He wasn't a massive name everywhere at that point. Was it?
I had, at the time, again, I was booking everyone. I had Paul Wolford. I had
Danny Rampling.
I'm not going to go into figures, but I paid ridiculous amounts of money. Youssef, Lottie, Paul Wolford, Mutiny. We had Brandon, Alex, Jim Sharp, Ryan, Lee Cabrera, Leroy from the Prodigy, Mr. C. We were the first guys to bring Head Candy to Swansea.
Yeah, I remember, from my point of view, I remember the Rampling night, right? Because I love Rampling. I think
Danny Rampling. We brought Danny Rampling. Eric Prydz was like, it was weird because I remember his agent, the agent looked after shapeshifters as well. And I was speaking to his agent for day, you know, like Greg will tell you, when you start booking people, people start knowing who you are and you start getting a bit of rapport with people. So it's easier to talk. Yeah. You know, you can chuck in the cheeky, I'll give you 500 quid less. You know, because people, and they'll either laugh you off or just tell you stick it in your ass. You know, you break that barrier, like. And I had this relationship with all the agents. They all knew me as this like crazy Welsh guy. Do you mean? We'd ring him up all the time and just start talking to them. So like this guy, Eric Prydz, now we booked him and he was like, it was luck, man. It was just like, I rang him. I was like, look, I can't remember the agent. But I was speaking to him and I was like, you know, he said, we've got Eric Prydz, he's available. Just at number one and he's going to be X amount. I was like, what? Okay, let's do it. So like, banker dad. All right, dad, can you let me X amount of thousands until Sunday? Because we're going to guarantee make the money back. So we book Eric Prydz. I'm like, honestly, God, I'm not joking, mate. The Barons were ringing me up. Alistair was ringing me up. Alistair was ringing me up in Barons. And like, look, you're going to have to sort a new phone line out because people are ringing all the time for tickets. You got to remember, now, Facebook wasn't around then to the level it is now. So I was like, right, okay. So me and Smiley now, we're like literally going to talk about going to Jamaica and all day. We're like thinking we're going to make a lot of money. Like, and I'm bouncing. I'm excited. And the problem with Smiley was he used to have a guest list of like 100 names. So he used to lose about $2,000 on guest lists, right? Because Smiley, he is Smiley.
Too nice.
So Eric Prydz night, we had a hot air balloon from one of his people who rent of him. He's a Russian scientist. So we had a hot air balloon on top of Barons with Refocus written across it. It was insane. And we were expecting to make this massive night, like, do you mean? And it flopped. We had like, the Wales played England for the first time in 25 years on the Saturday, and our party was on the Friday. So everyone in Swansea was going to Cardiff on the Saturday morning. And where you'd have you got to remember, Eric Prydz wasn't underground then. He was an underground to the DJs because he had different aliases as well. I can't remember the names now, but he had on the vinyl team.
Cyrus D was one of them.
And Virus, whatever his name is. And then, cut long story short, the commercial heads were related to Eric Prydz. They call me video, so they didn't come out, did they? No. They were going to rugby the next day. So I think we broke even, but I think that was my last party. I just said, I can't take the pressure, man. It was just too much stress. You know, you can imagine all that outlay, as Greg will know. But back then, I suppose you could call it irrelevant. And now, you know, 5,000 quid or whatever it was, or 3.5 or whatever it was probably like 8,000 now. Do you mean? It was people like, because you couldn't charge the amount of money you could charge now. Yeah. I think we were charging like a tenner. You know, whereas if we charged 20 quid a head for Eric Prydz, you know, we would have done it right. But people wouldn't pay the money then. So
I still think that applies. I still think that applies in Swansea anyway, Ed, that you can't
I think you're right.
20 odd quid. Like,
I think people are more. I think people are more accepted. You know, I personally would pay 20 quid to see Eric Prydz now if it was Swansea. Do you mean? Whereas back then it was like £7 before 12, £10 after. You could never justify it. Now looking back, it was suicide.
Yeah. Trying to think. There's a couple more questions. So, Ed, in terms of like, and I hope you don't mind me saying this. So you're the kind of guy who like disappears, then builds himself back up to a level, like you've done now over the last 12 weeks, then disappears again. So now you should be keeping your foot on the gas, and I've said this in previous interviews, not sure if you watched them now. Now you should be keeping your foot on the gas. What's your plans for your DJ career over the next 18 months? I know Escape 2020 is cancelled now, and it got cancelled tonight, which is obviously a bummer for all of us here because we were all playing on it. But what's your plans now for the next, well, six months? We'll go with 6 months because obviously you know you're like your boom and bust. So what's your plans for the next 6 months?
I don't know. I just, I stopped being trying to be funny. I don't know. Like I don't know where the future's going to take me. I mean, family is very important at the moment. That's, you know, and you got like the music side of it. You got what's the word? My other businesses, and it's kind of like, I think it's probably time to streamline now. Just focus on what which areas I want to achieve. And I think DJ wise, I think I'm going to be knocking. I think I'll probably just be streamlining out to the corporate market, looking to do work in London and looking for the high-end shows, really. Not because I'm disrespecting anything in Swansea or Cardiff or anything. I'm not saying that. But, you know, there's no money in Swansea, really, to justify. I think you probably agree with me. No, you know, I don't really want to give my family nights up on a Saturday for 150 quid. Do you mean?
Yeah.
So I think Wales and, well, wherever, Cardiff, of course, Cardiff is capital city. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I'd love to play in Cardiff. It's some great venues. I think DJ-wise, focus on the corporate world.
Yeah, you're going to get into some weddings as well, and you're going to do some, because obviously weddings is a good.
To be honest, if the money's right, you know.
Yeah.
I'll do anything, you know, within reason, obviously with musically. I think the key for me at the moment now is just to keep focused and keep channeled and keep my energies positive. I do find it hard sometimes as I create. People are close to me, and you know, like, you know, I just when I talk to you for the last hour, whatever it's been, and I think myself, you know, I've been involved in music now for almost 25 years. You know, I think it's no wonder that, you know. I mean, it makes me emotional talking about it. You know, thinking about it. 25 years of my life I've given up to music. And when I think about the experience I've had, and yeah, it's you know, I can remember the first, you know, like I said, Maggie Dix to like 39 now, you know, raising money for charity. It's nothing to do with the charity. I'm explaining to you, you know, when you think of the journey it's been, it's insane.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the things for me musically has been the case that I've never ever achieved what I want to achieve. And I think that's why I sort of like, I peak and I sort of, and I decline and I up and I'm down, because I never hit that plateau. And obviously for me personally, I've always chased gigs as well. You know, I don't know anyone really in Swansea who's, without sounding big-headed, who's done what I've done internationally. And I've had to chase every one of those gigs to make it happen. And it does get tiring, do you mean?
Yeah, like you said, if you have to fly out to places to get a gig, and fund that yourself just to live the dream, that's a hell of a commitment. That's something that a lot of other DJs aren't prepared to do, me included.
Obviously, the first couple, you know, like the Asia gig was like I funded myself, and my outlook was that then led to a paid residency and opened other doors to other countries, which made me more money. But that was my commitment to the game. I lived and breathed out, you know, DJing. That's all I knew. Mm-hmm. And like when I was younger, my father used to say to me, you know, try and get something to fall back on. And I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna be a DJ, whatever. And yeah, I got my degree and I got my HND and I got my qualifications. But you know, in retrospect, I suppose you should always have something to fall back on. And I do miss the fact that I didn't have that skill to fall back on, because I think things probably would have been a lot less stressful for me. Do you mean?
Yeah, and that's probably, my grandfather used to say the same to me, is like, regardless what you do, get yourself a trade, because you know, if that goes tits up, you can always go back to the trade. And that didn't work for me, to be honest. I didn't really get a trade. I started one and then quit it. So, talking again on your tours, you spoke on your shadow boxing. Obviously, you're, you weren't quite undefeated, but you had a very good record on the unlicensed scene. But I'm not going to talk about your record. I'm going to talk about the music. So, ring entrances. what tunes did you have in your? Oh my god, you probably had fucking 10 fights, 11 fights. You were trying to count them, Ed?
I think it was 10 fights in the end.
10 fights, right? Okay, so
I can't remember. I think it was 9 or 10. I think.
So, what were your intro tunes, and why did you choose them?
The first, I think we had Robin S. Show Me Love because I just didn't have anything else to play that night. Because I was hanging. I thought I was good. Well, I didn't think I was going to fight. I was in the shower in the morning. I said, "Yeah, I can't fight tonight." I was literally shaking. And Kerry Farrell saw me at the bus stop, and he was like, because I was going down to work in Fabian Way, and he was like, "You can't fight tonight." But I did, and I don't want to talk about that because me and Darren became good friends over that. But we had Show Me Love, Robin S.
Yeah.
But that really wasn't my choice, but it was a good choice. The track I used to use was something called. It was a track called Pressure, Dirty Vegas. It was a Sultan and Shepherd remix. And
I know.
To me that was.
I know it. That's a fucking huge thing for me. That is. That's a big funky bum tune, that isn't it?
Yeah, and again, it was a track that I used to love, and like. Sport has made me so many friends. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to people's weddings who I started off with the white collar, and like Darren, we become very good friends, and it's mad, isn't it? Like music and sport. I've been lucky to be around industries where I've met so many friends. I class as friends for life. Like yourself, Justin. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you boxed Brocky a few times, and now you're fucking partners with him.
Well, me and Brocky being friends, yeah, that's another story.
I can always remember. I can't remember what fight it was. I think you may have boxed somebody from away. I can't remember. Did you box somebody?
Louis Rennick, the black guy.
No, it weren't him because he was good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was rubbish the first time, and he was training with Derek DeJour, and he came back like a blimmin', incredible.
Did you box him twice?
No, Leighton boxed him first, and I boxed him again.
Oh, right. No, you boxed somebody, and I'm not sure who you knew it was. Because I can remember going in the training rooms. At the time, I wasn't boxing. It was just before I started my pro career. But I was not training the boys, but I was helping out with the white-collar boys. I can remember being in the change room, and Ed was being Ed. He was stressing like fuck. I think he's like, Greg, where have you been? I said, I've just been in the other change rooms. I'm boxing, I can't remember who it was. I'm boxing, blah, blah, blah. What's he look like? I said, fucking hell, Ed. I said, you should see him at the nap pads and that. He is fucking unreal. And this guy was absolute dog shit, right? And fucking Ed stressing. I was like, I don't think I can fight them feeling ill already. And he's doing all the thing. And he'd stress. I left him sweat for about 10 minutes. I said, Ed, you can't even let the pad properly, mate. You're right. And I think you went out, and I think you took him out in 1 or 2 rounds. It wasn't. It was probably your only stoppage, I think. But he was fucking dog shit. But I can remember that time he was stressing out as you usually do. And yeah, I didn't help matters.
I remember, mate. The worst one we had was up in the valleys. The one Chris ran me up once. He was
Is that the one Wayne Harris sorted? Is that the one Wayne Harris was trying to do?
When he said, yeah, up the valleys.
Yeah.
Up the valleys, he said. So we turned up to this barn. Because we helped the heroes. So I thought it'd be like all karaoke and stuff. Do you mean? So yeah. Chris is like, we turn up now. We go in the back room on the pads and all that. And then I come out. Wayne's having this fight. This bloke looks like one of the big, the Chinese stacks. It's mental. Wayne's against the ropes. Fair play to mind. He's got some guts. He didn't quit at all. It turns out it was a draw or whatever. Then he called me in the ring. The other guy comes in. He's about 6'5". And I'm like in the corner looking at Chris. Chris is going, it's all right. Don't worry about it. So I'm looking at Chris. Look at the guy across the road. He's proper angry. Do you mean I was like thinking, this is not looking good? Like, and you've got to remember now, I hadn't trained for this. It was just a phone call to come and help. So I was looking and going, so I was thinking, right, okay. So he said, Ed Kurno, Funky Pump Swansea, and then this guy, PC, whatever they call himself, lieutenant, whatever. And then he come in the ring to shake my hand, and he didn't hit my hand. He got to me.
Very shit yourself, Andrew.
And I looked at him. I looked at Chris, and Chris went. And then Chris sort of just faded out like. So So we had this fight. It was mental. This guy was crazy. But I beat him away. So it was a good result. But it was just the way he went, rah, and banged his chest. I didn't know what was happening. But there we go. That's another story.
You've got to be one or two things, isn't it? If you do that, you're either going to be really, really good or really, really bad and you're not confident at all in your ability. And 9 times out of 10, it's the latter, isn't it? So
yeah, I just with me, as soon as I go, and that's it. It takes a long time, obviously.
It takes long. So I've been sent in a couple of questions, Ed.
Okay.
One from Adam Farrell.
I'm
only joking. I'm not going to answer that one.
I answered that when I saw it, Ed. It's fine. It's only one finger as well to anybody who wants to know. Right.
Very, very, very mature.
I know. The only two things I've been asked is, when is your 24-hour set? Which you promised to do.
24-hour set is, it's happening. We talked about it tonight, actually, before this. We're looking at probably doing 500 followers of Mixcloud for 12 hours, 1,000 for 24 hours.
So you're not actually doing
There's no way I'm staying up. There's no way I'm staying up for 24 hours for 4 people.
Right, okay.
No, all jokes aside, logistically, it's going to be a nightmare because if we get cut off, someone's going to have to be there to restream me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's happening. It's happening.
Ed, I did a 6-hour set, and it was torture. But it probably didn't help. Every 100 quid I raised, I had to do a shot. But that's another story. But yeah, it was really hard. So I could never do 12 hours, or even 24.
No, it's definitely happening. We spoke about it earlier. I'm just trying to work out the best date, and obviously it's going to affect the people around me as well, isn't it? So I've got to make sure everyone else is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like get up in the morning and start DJing for 12 hours. It's going to affect everyone around me, and I got to make sure everyone else is happy with it, and the venue's right, and I got to make sure that the charity's right, because obviously everything I do is going to be charity related. It's going to be I think with the lockdown now, the pubs open on the Friday. It's kind of like things are going to start. We've seen by numbers, people have people back in work, child commitments.
Yeah.
Things are going to start dropping. So let's just go out on one big show. Do you mean? And try and do one big thing for charity before we finish.
Well, funny you should mention that, because I'm sure you said on ITV that was going to be your last show. You've done about 6 since.
Yeah.
He's got a history for lying to TV companies anyway.
I know.
So it's all right.
Anything for the camera. And the last question I got for you, Ed, is when is your lockdown fest?
Lockdown fest, that's up to late in the moment. It's down to venues. We wanted to do in October, but we don't know what's happening with Leighton's organisation. Leighton's kind of in charge of that side of things, quite purely because he's got all the venues.
Yeah,
right.
Because there's wedding commitments, as it were.
Yeah.
With a festival like that, it's not going to be like Escape in the Park. It's going to be, like we said on the adverts before, it's going to be a different sort of angle on it, using what we got to give to people. I'd like to have done it
like a small intimate kind of one, 400-500 people, that sort of thing.
I think we'll be looking at 500 tops, probably, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
We're going to basically be giving something back to the people who've been tuning into us. And, again, it sounds like I'm being so almost big-headed. I'm not, but I'm fortunate. I've got a lot of things behind me now, so I can provide an event, so can Leighton, and we can do things which would, we're fortunate, in other words. I think that's the word.
Yeah.
I think that's the word I use. We're fortunate that we've got things.
I don't think you're fortunate at all, Ed. You've worked to get to where you are. You've worked for what you've got. It's the same as us. There's no such thing as luck. And well, saying that, they do say the harder you work, the luckier you get, which goes in tandem, really. So whatever you get, you deserve. And that's in life, really. But as long as you work hard, the rewards will come. You will get some setbacks, obviously, because we've all had them. And you will get some up times, but the harder you work, the luckier you get. I've always gone by that.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said at the beginning of the conversation, no one's come to my door and give me a yoga machine. You know what I mean?
No.
You got it, or hello.
So
Yeah, you're breaking up, you are.
We're yours, you mate.
Sorry.
No. It happens.
I don't know. I'm gonna say no one's, things. You got to work for things, to achieve what you want. You got to get out there and do things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So I think I'm breaking up in my head. I don't know.
Yeah, you are a little bit. So that's all I've got for you, Ed. Have you got any closing questions, Just?
Well, I wanted to just take it back to the music a little bit, because Ed's been fortunate that he's played with a lot of people and stuff. Influences-wise, Ed, DJs, who were the people that you admired when you first kind of broke onto the scene, and people that you kind of learned from or tried to take bits from and stuff? And who's the best DJs that you've played alongside and seen up close and personal?
I mean, Carl Cox is beyond words my idol, my hero. I mean, he is someone I completely and utterly look up to. He inspires me the way I mix. So I'm not always like tight and rough. I play about, I make errors, and if you listen to his sets, they're quite similar. Obviously, we can all mix, but I get bored of just mixing record after record. So I just can't explain him. He's such an influence on me personally. Do you mean as a DJ? Okay. I mean, you got the likes of people like Roger Sanchez, Dave Morales. I mean, all people who, in their own ways, have inspired me differently because of the music they produced and the different tracks which produce different memories. The DJs, I worked with some great people. I mean, I can't remember Danny Rampling. He was so quiet and sort of like underwhelming, really. Do you mean? He was obviously he's a godfather of house music, but I mean, he wasn't the character you'd imagine. Do you mean?
No, he's not.
When I DJed like Lee Cabrera and people like them, they were exactly like me. They were full of the energy and the passion of being behind the decks and entertaining. But I mean, do you know what? I got like a list of DJs running through my head at the moment who I've worked with, and I just can't focus on one. I mean, there was one DJ called Paul Wilkins who worked for Head Candy, and he was unbelievable. He was probably one of the standout DJs I've ever worked with. But I mean, it almost comes back to Carl Cox for me. He's the one DJ who to me he is a pillar of British dance music. Do you mean?
Yeah. If you watch his lockdown stuff that he's been doing as well, his musical taste is so eclectic. The stuff that he plays is like early rave, soul, going into house, going into techno. He's not frightened to step into any genre at all and drop it in his sets, is he?
Pretty much.
I've seen him a few times and he's amazing. But
yeah, I mean, he's just. I mean. I can't put words to explain how much he influences what I want to achieve. Do you mean?
You're trying to find him for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah, I mean, Judge Jules was when I played Judge Jules and Escape. He was something else as well, man. Let's not forget people like him who, again, super talented. They just become they just become more commercially viable now. So people think they're crap because people are ignorant. But he's absolutely amazing. What an amazing DJ. Do you mean to warm up to come on the decks after him that was something else as well. Do you mean?
Absolutely.
But there we go. Yeah, I could talk all night about different experiences. Do you mean? But I think it's been cool.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, Ed. Thoroughly enjoyed it. A couple of good stories there. Is there any closing words or any? I know that you've got a million businesses. So have you got any closing plugs?
No, not really. Just thank you very much for this evening. I've enjoyed talking to you both. It's nice to have a bit of boy time in it. Just have
absolutely. That's something I probably should have said at the beginning. One of the reasons why we got you on, obviously you got kitchen lockdown, we got 100%. We kind of go clash a little bit, don't we, on a Friday? But people think that there's some sort of beef between us. And that can be any further from the truth. We speak how many times a week, Ed? We speak 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah. Well, you rang me 2 days ago to say you'd fucking broken down at the top of my road.
Do you know what happened then? Yeah, guess what happened though?
Go on.
Believe what happened?
Probably
I had jump leads in the boot.
Oh, did he?
I couldn't believe it. I was just going to bite him as well. I was tamping. There we go.
There we go. Brilliant. Well, on that note, thank you for your time, Ed. Been class talking to you. And I'll probably speak to you tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, I won't tell you about those grapes. He didn't eat grapes yesterday, thank God.
Oh, he didn't, did he? Right, okay. Don't
No.
worry. No worry.
Oh, by the way, Greg's dog's Rock. Sebastian loves it.
Yeah, Ed bought the dog off me, so he brings me to ask him, is it right if he breathes in and breathes out? Top man, Ed. Thanks for your time.
All the best, pal. Take